Let's see if I can hold all these books up here. Let's try it. Probably won't work. Is it gonna work? Probably. Watch me struggle. I'm gonna leave some of this in just so you can see the struggles to get a thumbnail. No. Oh shit. Let's try it again, shall we? I'm gonna put it down to the fact that I've got boobs. 2022 books, no. 2 books to 22 to or a Smoke and Bone, book 2. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be doing my priority reads for 2022. So last year people did the 21 books to read in 2021. These are the 22 books that I 100% want to get round to in 2022. So that means I'm going to be needed to pick like 2 books a month. There might be one month where I get the option to pick one of the books, but I need to be picking 2 books a month off this TBR on top of other things that I want to read in order to get through these books, because these are priority reads for me. So I'm just going to try and go through them as quickly as possible. We'll just see where we go. We'll try and get through. We'll try, you know what I mean? I ramble, you know what I mean? So these are in no particular order either. First one I want to get round to is the Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires. The reason I want to get around to this is because it's for a thing that I started this year that I really want to like focus on and get done next year. I'm still gonna use the people that I previously reached out to in order to do this series, but I'm really gonna make a conscious effort to make this a priority and get this one read for the thing that I'm doing. So I'll just read the synopsis on this because I really don't, like I said, because I got this for a thing I don't fully understand what it's about. I'm just going to read the synopsis, okay? So Patricia Campbell's life has never felt smaller. Her husband is a workaholic, her teenage kids have their own lives, her senile mother-in-law needs constant care, and she's always a step behind her endless to-do list. The only thing that keeps her sane is her book club, a close-knit group of Charleston women united by their love of true crime. At these meetings, they're as likely to talk about the Manson family as they are about their own lives. One evening after the book club, Patricia is viciously attacked by an elderly neighbour, bringing the neighbour's handsome nephew, James Harris, into her life. James is well-travelled and well-read. He makes Patricia feel things she hasn't felt in years. But when children on the other side of town go missing, their deaths written off by local police, Patricia has reason to believe James Harris is more of a Bundy than a Brad Pitt. The real problem, James is a monster of a different kind, and Patricia has already invited him in. Little by little, James will insinuate himself into Patricia's life and try to take everything she took for granted, including the book club, but she won't surrender without a fight in this blood-soaked tale of neighbourly kindness gone wrong. So it's got vampires in, but it's a different take on vampires. So, you know, I'm excited to get to this. Not sure when I will, but I will. Another priority read for me is The Priory of the Orange Tree. I got this a while ago now. The writing is extremely small, so I'm going to try and get the hardback version, because Becca mentioned that she's got the hardback version, which makes it easier to read. It is a massive hardback, but I think that I might switch to that because this is going to be hard to read. But the back just says, a world divided, a queendom without an heir, an ancient enemy awakens. And I'm guessing it's got dragons in, because if it doesn't, false advertising, just saying. I picked this up literally because I picked up the Bone season and I loved the first in the Bone season, and I just wanted to pick up more Samantha Shannon's work. So I'm picking up this. So next up is The Missing of Claire de Lune. This is book 2 in the Mirror Visitor Quartet. I think there's only 4 books. The last 2 books I think are now out, but they're only out in hardback. So I'm going to have to wait for the paperbacks of those to come out. But this follows Ophelia. She can travel through mirrors, and she can also tell the history of an object by touching it. She was working in, I think it was a museum, I want to say. So the world has been split into poles, and each of these poles, I think they're called poles, they have a different family, a different way of living, and Ophelia comes from a place where women have to dress a certain way, you know, typical thing that they like to do in fantasy, and she's not really about that. She doesn't dress up, she's not girly, she likes to just be by herself in a museum, just doing her own thing, until she's married off to a not so nice person in a very cold place, and that is very, very, very badly described. But this follows Ophelia on, I think, on finding herself a little bit, and dealing with all the politics involved in the arrangement that's been made for her. And the first book was so good. It did get 5 stars. It was a lower end of 5 stars, but it still did get 5 stars from me. And I'm really excited to see what the next one offers. Next up, we have the Ocean Squid Explorers Club Polathon this year. I binge read all 3 of these in the Polar Bear Explorers Club, and in that sort of like trilogy. This is the start of another trilogy, I think, and it follows different characters, I think. The first trilogy follows Stella and her friends, and then this follows a girl called Ursula. So these are just comfy, cozy middle grades, and I really want to get into the next trilogy. The second book in this one is out, and it's something about pirates. If I remember rightly, I'll put it up here. If I can remember to find the picture, I'll put it up there. But I really want to get around to this, and even though it's not really polar fantasy, I'm probably going to pick it up for Polathon anyway. So we'll see. That's one. Next up, we have Relentless. So this is something. This was gifted to me by Erin. The whole series, in fact, was gifted to me by Erin, and I never heard of this series prior to Erin mentioning it, but she said it's one of her favourite series, so I think it's only fair that I dedicate a vlog to reading the series for this. So it says, Sarah Gray's world shattered 10 years ago when her father was brutally murdered. Now at 17, she is still haunted by memories of that day and driven by the need to understand why it happened. She lives a life full of secrets, and her family and friends have no idea of the supernatural world that she is immersed in, or of Sarah's very powerful gift. In her quest for answers about her father's death, Sarah takes risks that expose her and her friends to danger, and puts herself into the sight of a sadistic vampire. On the same fateful night, she meets Nicholas, a warrior who turned Sarah's world upside down, and who is determined to protect her, even if it's the last thing she wants. Sarah's life starts to spin out of control as she is haunted by an obsessed vampire, learns that her friends have secrets of their own, and reels from the truth about her own ancestry. Sarah has always been fiercely independent, but in order to survive, she must open herself to others, to reveal her deepest secrets, and she must learn to trust the one person capable of breaking down the walls around her. So, I think it sounds great, and I'm going to make a more conscious effort to get through the books that I've currently got, and with me having the full series of this, I can make a vlog out of it as well. So next up, I'm holding this up because I don't have the second book yet, but I want to read Blood and Honey, which I will. I just wanted something physical to hold up. So I read Serpent Dove this year. I absolutely love this. I love Lou. I love Reed. Coco, I liked her at first, but I'm not sure. But this ended on a really, really intriguing note. So I'm really looking forward to getting book 2. I'm going to get book 2 and 3 together. So, because I've got a feeling I'm going to like all 3 of them. So I'm just gonna dive into book 2 of this at some point next year. I will. I promise. I will. Next up, we have Night Shadow by Sébastien de Castell. This is his adult series. It's a part of the Great Coat series. I read Traitor's Blade this year. I wanted to read the full series this year, but you know, I decided to take part in a million readathons, so I didn't have time to fit this on my TBR. This series follows Falkio, Kest and Brasti. They are part of what used to be the Great Coats, who used to protect the king. The king died, the Great Coats were disbanded, and there were other rulers that are... It's very political. There's some underhand tactics going on, and Falkio's trying to get to the bottom of everything. I'm really crap at explaining all this, but I loved the first one in this. I loved it from Falkio's perspective. I do enjoy Sébastien de Castell's writing in both his YA and in his adult, and Joe Jameson is an amazing narrator. He also narrates all the Great Coat series as well as the Spellslinger series, so I'm really excited to get to this. I can't wait. Next up, I want to get to Vicious by V. Schwab. This was a book that I bought as soon as I finished the Action and Magic series. I was intending on getting straight to it. It's not even a big book, but me being me, basic bitch, I just didn't get around to reading it. It is something I do want to get the rest of Schwab's backlist, because she's bringing out Gallant next year, which I'm so excited for. So I want to get as much of a backlist ready as possible. Probably not going to be before Gallant comes out, but I'm going to pick up Vengeful as well. But this I definitely want to get to next year at some point. Keep your fingers crossed for me. So, Daughter of Smoke and Bone. This is book 2, Days of Blood and Starlight by Laini Taylor. I read Strange the Dreamer, loved it, which then led me to Daughter of Smoke and Bone. I've still not read Muse of Nightmares. I will get round to it, but I'm trying to find a copy that is part of the matching set of the Georgia. I think I found one on eBay, but that's by the by. I'm looking forward to getting around to this. I really enjoyed book 1. It got 4 stars because there was something just I felt like a little bit lacking, but I was really enjoying it, and I'm just excited to find out what happens with Karoo next, because it was left on, again, as it always does, on a little bit of a cliffhanger. The good thing about this is that I've got absolutely no idea where it's going to go. Not an inkling. So this is a little bit chunky than the first one, but I'm really excited to get around to this one as well. Okay, so we are moving on to the hardbacks that I've got. Raybearer is the first one I want to get to. This is the first in, I think it's just a duology. I have got Redemptor up there as well that you can't see. And I purchased this on a whim when I came back to Booktube. I saw this on Fairy Luke's website, and it's a special edition one, and I just absolutely loved it. It's a small hardback. I didn't even know what it was about when I first purchased it, but I think it's gorgeous. It's gorgeous. So I'll read the synopsis to you. Tarisai has always longed for the warmth of a family. She was raised in isolation by her mysterious, cunning and often absent mother, known only as the Lady. When Tarisai comes of age, the Lady sends her to the capital of the global empire of Artazar to be chosen as one of the Crown Prince's Council of 11. If she's picked, she'll be joined with the other council members through the Ray, a bond deeper than blood. But the Lady has other ideas, including a magical wish that Tarisai is compelled to obey. Kill the Crown Prince once she gains his trust. So I'm guessing that this is going to be an enemies to lovers type situation, or I don't know who you are, you turn up at my doorstep, we fall in love situation. I've been sent to kill you, but I'm falling in love with you. But I'm really excited to read this. I've heard many good things about this, so I'm really hoping it doesn't let me down, because I've bought both special editions. So, next book I want to get to is The Winter Garden by Alex Bell. This Alex Bell is also this Alex Bell. So, I'm used to reading him middle grade. This is a YA, I think. And I'm excited to get to this. I pre-ordered this as soon as I saw this cover. As soon as I saw that it was being released and she was doing it in her first YA, I pre-ordered this. It's chunky. It's big, it's chunky. I'll read the synopsis of this as well, just in case you don't know what it's about. So, on the night her mother dies, 8-year-old Beatrice receives an invitation to the mysterious Winter Garden, a place of wonder and magic filled with all manner of strange and sublime flora and fauna. The garden is her solace every night for 7 days. But when the garden just disappears and no one believes her story, Beatrice is left to wonder if it's truly real. 18 years later, on the eve of her wedding to the man her late father approved of, but she does not love, Beatrice makes a decision to throw off the expectations of Victorian English society and search for the garden, when both she and her closest friend Rosa receive invitations to compete to create spectacular pleasure gardens, with the prize being one life-changing wish. She realises she may be closer to finding it than she ever imagined. All she needs to do is win. So it is slightly historical, but the fact that it's got magic in there as well, and it kind of gives me Secret Garden vibes. I'm really, really excited to get to this. I'm a bit gutted that I couldn't get to it when it first came out, but again, I signed up for 1,000,000 readathons and couldn't fit it in to a prompt. So, another one that I just keep pushing back, but I really want to read, is Cemetery Boys. I've had this since it came out. I think I've had it since it came out. I've even got like Lost in the Neverwoods by Aidan Thomas as well, which is again up there somewhere, and I've heard nothing but good things about this. I've not heard one bad thing about this book. It made Becca cry, and I just don't know why I'm not reading it. This follows a boy called Yadriel. He is trans, and he in this world there are two types of magic that the females perform and magic that the males perform. And the males who perform magic are called Brujo. When he tries to do a seance or spell to summon the ghost of his cousin who was murdered, it goes wrong and he ends up summoning the ghost of bad boy Julian Diaz, who just doesn't want to go away. And that's all I know. I'm guessing it's going to be slightly chaotic, but I'm looking forward to this. I am going to get to this as well. I really hope so. Anyway. I am giving myself so much work here. Another chunker is Master of Sorrows by Justin T. Cole. I got this and it took me ages to find this in hardback. I really love the premise of this. I saw Ashley from A Frolic Through Fiction mention this. It just gives me all the old style fantasy vibes that I love, and yeah, I'm really excited to get to this. So I'm not going to read the full synopsis because it is really long. So this follows a young man who has to hide his magic because magic is forbidden. And from what I know and what I remember, there are some quite dark themes in this, so I might look up trigger warnings if there is any. I will link them down below. But from what I know, it does have it quite hard. And this has small writing in. I need to see if I can find the audiobook for this. This is going to be difficult for me to read with my specs. But I do have Master Artificer as well, which is again somewhere around here, and I'm really excited to get to this. I'm going to try and make, these are my priority reads, so I'm going to do a video at the end of next year, and if I haven't read all these books, I'm going to be seriously disappointed in myself. I don't know what I'm going to do, but I'm disappointed in myself. Next up we have Spin the Dawn. I have the amazing special edition Fairy Loot version. I saw these. I've not touched this duology. I do not know much about this duology. But I bought it because it was pretty. I think this is a Mulan-esque retelling. I think. And yeah, A Tailor in Disguise, 3 legendary dresses, the competition of a lifetime. Most of you will already know what Spin the Dawn is. You probably already read it. I just can't get over how pretty this book is and how aesthetically pleasing it looks on my shelves next to Six Crimson Cranes. Absolutely stunning. So this is definitely a priority read for me. And again, I will definitely get around to this at some point in next year, because you'll also see that in another video. It is coming. Another priority read for me next year is Incendiary by, I don't want to butcher the name, I'm going to try to say it, I think it's Zoraida Cordova. I think that's how you pronounce it. I'm really sorry if I butchered it. But this has been on my shelves for a while now. And I think the sequel of this has come out as well. And I've just not touched it. I'm trying to get through the books that have been on my TBR the longest, that also I'm very interested in. So, well, saying that, this has only been on my TBR since last year. So for this one, I'll read the synopsis again. I'll try and read it quickly so you're not here too long. Renata was an only child when she was kidnapped by the Crown. As a memory thief, the rarest and most feared of the magical Moria, she used to carry out the king's wrath. A siege that resulted in deaths of thousands of her own people. Now Renata is one of the Whispers, a rebel spy working against the Crown. When Des, her commander, and the boy she's grown to love is taken captive by the notorious Principe Dorado, Renata must return to the palace to complete his top secret mission herself. Can she keep her cover, even as she burns for vengeance against the brutal, enigmatic prince? Her life and the fate of Moria depend on it, but returning to the palace stays memories long locked away. As Renata grows more deeply embedded into the royal court, she uncovers a secret that could change the fate of her entire kingdom and end the war that has cost her everything. Every time I read that synopsis, I'm like, yes, I want to read it right now. And then something else distracts me and I'll go pick up another pretty book. I need to stop it. I am going to get this. I am holding myself accountable. I am putting this out there into the world. I am reading this next year. Next up we have Danger Gang by Tom Fletcher. This was gifted to me by Becca and I'm really excited to read this. You can see the absolutely amazing cover on this as well. It's not even a special edition. This is just a standard edition. And I want to get to this next year because I want to read more middle grade. I want to read more of Tom Fletcher. I'm reading the Christmasaurus next month. So I just want to also start picking up some of Tom Fletcher's backlist books. So this is on my TBR. The Bright and the Pale Fairy Loot Special Edition that came in a box. The reason I'm putting this on here is because I have a habit of getting my Fairy Loot boxes saying, ooh, pretty book, and unless it's super hyped at the time, like Kingdom of the Wicked, or like with Fire with Fire, I was really itching to get into it and ended up reading that with Becca. Unless something pushes me towards it, this will just slide out my shelf and it just gets forgotten about. So I've done that with quite a few Fairy Loot books. So I definitely am going to make more of a conscious effort to read the books that I get from Fairy Loot, even the ones that aren't as hyped. So this is by Jessica Rubinkowski. I'm really excited to get to this one as well. Next, I'm going to preface this by saying, I know I'm behind the times. I'm way behind everybody else on Booktube with this, but Crescent City. It's Chonka, Sarah J. Maas. Need I say more? House of Sky and Breath is coming out next year. It's coming out in February. I'm going to make a massively conscious effort to get this on my January TBR. I will do it. There's another video that I think will be out before this that sort of explains how I'm going to work my TBR for next year. So I'm really going to make a conscious effort to make sure this is on there. Again, putting it out into the world. It will happen? Question mark. These are just getting chunkier and chunkier the more they go down. Next up, also I know I'm behind with this one as well. Akasuf, as Becca calls it. A Court of Silver Flames. I did want to read this in December, but I'm going to have to push it back till January. And I really hate doing this because I've loved every single book from the ACOTAR series so far. They've just got better and better as they've gone on. I've just read A Court of Frost and Starlight and it was the cutest little novella. So I'm excited to get to this one. I'm just scared because it's hella chunky, but you know, I'm aiming to get both of these read in January because The House of Sky and Breath is out in February and I want to pick it up straight away, so wish me luck with both of these. And as I said, they're getting chunkier and chunkier. I only picked this up because of Aaron from Booked and Busy. I saw her review where she had like blue makeup on. She looked stunning. She always looks stunning anyway, but she looked stunning. This sounded really good, and it is another chunker. I didn't even tell you what this was. It's To Sleep in a Sea of Stars by Christopher Paolini. This is the author that also wrote Eragon, I think, question mark. Yeah, oh my god, it says it on the front. I didn't even realise this. It actually says the author of Eragon on the front. Okay, so this is a sci-fi. I'm venturing more into sci-fi e-books at the moment. So it says, during a routine survey mission on an uncolonised planet, Kira finds an alien relic. At first she's delighted, but elation turns to terror when the ancient dust around her begins to move. As war erupts among the stars, Kira is launched into a galaxy-spanning odyssey of discovery and transformation. First contact isn't at all what she imagined, and events push her to the very limits of what it means to be a human. While Kira faces her own horrors, Earth and its colonies stand upon the brink of annihilation. Now Kira might be humanity's greatest and final hope. I love the sound of this. Why do I keep putting it off? Final 2 books are coming your way. Number 21. Moon of Kings. I saw, who was it? Brightness Katie Reads, I think. First time I saw this mentioned. JD Ray Reads has recently read it, and this was gifted to me by Rosie. Rosie, I love you, thank you. And she gifted me the second one as well for my birthday. So I don't even know what this is about. It's high fantasy, dragons. It's gonna be political. It's gonna be amazing. It's gonna be amazing. This is what I'm definitely 110 million % getting to in 2022, and there's a quote by John Gwynne there, one of my new favourite authors. So this is by Jen Lyons, by the way, but it's got a quote on the back by John Gwynne. How could I not want to pick this up? Finally, a book that I have wanted to read for ages, but stupidly, again, continue to put off, is Malice. This is a Sleeping Beauty retelling kind of situation, but where Maleficent falls for Aurora. I think that's what it is. That whole vibe was just like, gimme, gimme, gimme. I need on my shelves. It's pretty, it's dark, it's like, look at the cover, it's just so pretty. Just so pretty. I love it. This is by Heather Walter. And yeah, I'm really excited to get to this one as well. That's my 22 books to get through in 2022. Some of them are short, quick reads, or I think will be short, quick reads, but the majority of them are chunky mofos. However, because of the new TBR situation next year, I'm hopefully going to be more open and available to read different types of books and mood read a little bit more. So I say mood read, I'm technically just giving myself a 22 book TBR, but you know what I mean. I know what I mean. You know what you get me though, don't you? Anyway, I'm gonna head off now because I've got some more films to film. I'm gonna head off now and clean all these books up because I've got to go put them back on my newly organised shelves that Becca did for me. That's gonna be fun. I will see you all very soon.